Hey everybody, this week, another What's in the Box. Look at this box. All that bubble wrap. I don't think there's enough bubble wrap. We're gonna go through it, 55 CDs. So let's get to it. Hey everybody, it's the Snowman with TooLoudTooOldMusic.com. Welcome back to the collection. This week, we're gonna go through a box that I got. A friend of mine, Mike Ladano at Grab a Stack of Rock, he had a friend that was selling off his CD collection. His name was Len Labelle, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you, Len. They sent a bunch of pictures. I looked through them, picked out what I wanted, and because they're in Canada, shipping was going to be really expensive. So I made sure to buy a bunch, and I ended up with 55 CDs, and that way it made the whole shipping cost a little bit more tolerable. So we're going to go through all of them. Um, Lots of collections in this from a particular artist. Like I got a bunch, 13 from one, like four from another artist. Not too many single items here. But one of the single items is Bonham. And this is Mad Hatter. This was their second album from 1992. Um, the CD's not in here because I was listening to it earlier today. So I have their debut, needed the second one, so we got Mad Hatter as that one. Um, I'm trying to think where I put the other stuff that was one-offs, but they're in there somewhere. Another band I wanted to get some of that I'd never had before. It was a band by Tony Harnell, and it is Westworld. This is the self-titled album. I forget what year. This is 1999, it looks like. Um, it's that there's a picture of the band. Um, it's just solid rock album. And then there's their second album, and this one is Skin. I think that's a great cover, by the way. Really awesome cover. Um, I haven't really listened to any of these before. This one, I'm gonna say, is somewhere in 2000 or so. Um, I remember hearing them back when they came out, but I never bought them. And so I saw them in the picture, and I was like, okay, I have to have those. And luckily, I got them both. All right, another band from the late 90s, the end of the hair metal scene, I guess, is Slaughter. And we got four from Slaughter. We got The Wild Side. Sorry, The Wild Life. I can't read. Um, this is their second album, with Real Love, Reach for the Sky, Days Gone By is great. Just so many great songs. Love this album. Was just listening to it a little while ago. As a matter of fact, that's why there's no CD in there. Uh, then on their next album, and The Wildlife was probably the last album. The first two albums I listened to, and The Wildlife was the second one. I never bought any of the others. I always wanted to, and he had some more of them. So we have Fear No Evil, which this was a really good one. I was listening to it, but didn't get to finish it. It picks up right where The Wildlife lets off. Then the next one is Slaughter Revolution. This one's a little more trippy, a little psychedelic looking, and I think the sound on this one is a little bit more experimental and psychedelic, and I'm really anxious to hear how that one sounds. It should be really good. And then the last one I got from Slaughter is Back to Reality. Um, this is late 90s, 99, 98, 99, or something like that. Um, CD's still in there. I haven't listened to this one yet. Um, just really love Slaughter. Mark Slaughter's got a great voice. It's a little rough around the edges, and I like that. I have no problems with that. All right. Another band that I got a few off of, and that is Tesla. These are some of the later album, late 90s till up till more recent. This is into the now, and I can pretty much tell you I really only listened to the first three albums before, the original three, and then Five Man, the acoustic jam thing. After that, I never really listened to anything, so I'm really glad to have these. This one's into the now. Then we got a covers album. This one is Reel to Reel. This one has a nice bonus disc in it. So it does that, and then there's the disc, and then there's a little bonus disc with a couple songs on it. Um, so yes, not a big fan of covers album, but I'll give it a try. Never heard it. No problem with that. Then after that covers album, they released Forevermore. I really think it's a really cool cover they have on here. So yeah, so Forevermore. Have no idea how that one sounds. Never heard it. The same with the next one. Simplicity is the next one, and it is a very simplistic cover. Uh, it's Digipack, so it's a little trifold, and there's the CD. So yeah, anxious to hear that one. Then we have the more recent album, Shock. Um, this one was produced, if I'm not mistaken, by Phil Collen from Def Leppard, and it sounds a lot. I haven't heard this one, and I think I even reviewed this one. It sounds like Leopard more than it does Tesla. So not a real big fan of it, but it's Tesla. I wanted it in my collection. I love the first three albums, so I figured out try out all the rest. Why not? It's there. Might as well do it. Okay. Then we're gonna go through some other stuff. Here's another one-off, one that I had. Big Billy Idol fan. I have all the vinyl. Been working on slowly on getting the CDs, and I was missing Kings and Queens of the Underground. This, if you haven't heard this one, is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite uh, Billy Idol albums. So many great songs. I mean, this is a more recent release, sometime in 2000s. It's amazing album. Give it a try if you haven't heard that one before. Then there was a band I've been wanting to really check out, and I've never gotten into them. Always been interested in listening to them, and that is Pretty Maids. And we have we have five Pretty Maids albums. This one is coming in blurry, but it's spooked. Um, Digipack, very glossy, and there's the inside. So I'm looking forward to these. I'm not really sure what to expect, but we'll give them a try. And this one is Planet Panic. Um, there's the guys on the back. So yeah, looking forward to this one too. And then the next one we got is Carpe Diem. There's this one. Some great, you know, it's nice to get all these albums at one time. I hope I like them. I'm sure I will though. This one's around 2000 is for that one. Um, so I think we're going backwards here. Then this one is called Scream, and that's what they're doing in the cover. Uh, and there's the CD and the guys there. So lots of good stuff, hopefully. Then what I think we got here is called Stripped. And then so I'm assuming this is going to be acoustic. I don't know. And then that's the inside of it. So this one is early 90s. So we kind of went from the more recent back to an older album. So yeah, really excited to get into Pretty Maids, a band I'm just not all that familiar with. And I found one more from them. It's called Sin Decade. Um, so yeah, I'm telling you, I got a lot of stuff to go through with 55 CDs. It's going to take me a while to get through all of these. All right, then the next batch. We're starting to get to the big batches now. Um, I've been a fan of Dokken, um, but I only have like the early albums. I never have listened to them past what Don Dawkins Up from the Ashes. After that, I didn't really listen to anything. So here we go. We're gonna have a whole bunch of Dawkins stuff. First one is Long Way Home. Uh, I'm covering that up because no clothes on her, so don't want to get in trouble for that one. Um, so I'm not really sure what to expect with all of these because, I just don't know this material. This one is Shadow Life. This definitely looks like a 90s album, doesn't it? With that cover. And then their outfits. Yeah, that's not the Dokken I remember growing up, let me tell you. So I'm sure that one's going to be pretty interesting. Then we have a live album. It's From Conception Live 1981. Wow. I'm really looking forward to hearing this one. Uh, this is early Dokken. Um, Man, I don't even know some of these songs. So that'll be a good one to hear. Anything from early time period. All right, next is Hell to Pay. Um, like I said, I don't know what any of these albums are. I've never heard any of these albums. I've just always wanted to get more Dawkins stuff. And so, yeah, when you see them all at one time, I was like, I had to take the whole batch. This is Lightning Strikes Again. Great looking cover. And yeah, well, what year are we up to? This one's 2008. So we're really moving up into more current stuff. Then we have a Dokken Greatest Hits album. So so this one's cool. I mean, I know most of these songs. So yeah, glad to have a Greatest Hits album of Dokken. And now we're getting up to be even more recent. This is the Broken Bones. This is a special edition. It's a trifold digipack. It's got DVD and a CD, and on the DVD, the making of the album. So we'll see what's all on that. And then I think this is the very last studio album. This is Heaven Comes Down. So, and I'm sure people will have comments on this one. I've heard his vocals aren't as good as they used to be, but at their age, whose vocals are is really so just cool that they're actually putting out some material. So, all right, before I get to the final two big stacks, I found another small set of stuff. Firehouse. Love Firehouse. I've got, if you watched the show a couple months ago, I got the debut album and the second album from Japan, the Japanese edition. So here's Firehouse number 3. I think I've had this one at one time, sold it in my last collection because I think I had number 3 and then I had up to Good Acoustics or whatever that one's called, which I need to re-get that one. And then this, I think, is the final album, Firehouse '02. Um, and there's the girl. Yeah, so I mean, I think it's been a year since CJ has passed away, the singer. So, you know, miss him because loved Firehouse, loved his vocals. Um, it's just sad we're not going to get any more stuff from them. Okay, we're still going now. We're down to the final two items or two stacks and two bands. First, we're going to go through Sammy Hagar. So, again, if you've been watching my wrap ups from the last few months, I've been buying a lot of Sammy Hagar on vinyl. I've never had any on vinyl, haven't had that many on CD either. But thanks to Tim's book, I can't remember the title of the book, but Tim Derling's book on Sammy Hagar. So sorry, Tim. I've been buying a lot and getting into it again. So this one, he had Standing Hampton. This is a good album. I have this on vinyl. And there's the inside. This one, of course, has I'll Fall in Love Again. There's Only One Way to Rock, Heavy Metal. Um, yeah, there's just a lot of good hits on this one. All right. Then we've got VOA. So as you can see, I Can't Drive 55, Two Sides of Love. Um, More great Sammy Hagar, early Sammy Hagar. Not that early, but early enough. All right, then we've got the reissue of the self-titled Sammy Hagar, but this one's I Never Said Goodbye. So they titled it up on the reissue. Um, And there's the inside. So anything, what's on this one? Give to Live is on this one. Yeah, I don't think I've listened to this one that much, other than Give to Live and maybe another song on there. And that's about as far as I would go on Sammy. I think I had a greatest hits that covered all those albums and back. Anything new now, I didn't really listen to. So we have Marching to Mars, and nice little cover. Can't see. This one is from 1997, it looks like. So I hope I'm not wrong. Have no idea what that one's like. Then we've got 1013. Uh, and again, I'm not really sure I don't know anything from this one either that I can think of. So it's going to be fun. And then this next batch of stuff is the Sammy Hagar and the Wabarita, Roberitos, or Roberitas, whatever they call it. Wabaritas. Yeah, I'll figure it out one day. But this is the debut album from that little group called Red Voodoo. So, don't think I've listened to this one. I'm sure Mas Tequila. Okay, I know that one. That was a big hit, so I do know that one. I just never had these albums before. Then we have maybe this one should be first. Oh no, this one's Not for Sale. That's what it's called. Not for Sale. Bunch of great looking guitars on there. And there's Sammy on the cover on the CD itself. Then we have Sammy and the Wabos living it up. Is now in his Jimmy Buffett phase, pretty hardcore now. And again, this is probably one I don't really think I know anything off this one. So looking forward to that. Then we have Sammy Hagar and Friends. So this was a Frontiers release, I believe. Yeah, Frontiers Records release. It is a CD and a DVD with Sammy and him and a bunch of friends, if I'm not mistaken. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called Sammy Hagar and Friends. So interested to hear what that one is. Then we have Sammy Hagar and The Circle. This is probably, I think, their third album, or second or third album. I don't have any of those. I need to get those. And there, as you can see, there, Michael Anthony. Who's all that? Looks like John Bonham. Is that Tony Dickinson? I don't know. I'm just making it up as I go. Um, and then I have a couple Chickenfoot albums, but I did not have their second album called Chickenfoot 3. Yes, second album called 3. Um, and then this one has the 3D glasses still in it, which is really cool. And the CD is in my CD player. I'm listening to that one as well, or that's like coming up to listen to. So that's all the Sammy. So quite a bit of Sammy. Now the biggest collection in that group is now this one. It's Journey, and I did not have a ton of Journey, so this fills a lot of the gaps that I had. I only had one or two. So I only need to buy a couple more and I'll have all of the main albums anyway. I'll need to get some of the live. But we'll kick it off with Journey. Uh, this is original band here. This is like I don't know, 1975 or something. Like, yeah, 1975. Um, so pre Steve Perry and all that. Then we have the second one, Look into the Future, or it might be now. Um, I don't know much about any of these early stuff, so I'm anxious to hear what they sounded like prior to Steve Perry joining, because that's really look at that hair for Neil Sean. I don't think he can make that any bigger. That is awesome. I don't think I could ever get my hair that big. All right, now we're into the era that I know, and then we've got with Journey's Infinity. So of course this is the stuff I know. We got Lights. We got Anytime, Wheel in the Sky. Yeah, so lots of good stuff. We're getting into the area that I know and know pretty well. Departure is the next one that was in the list or in the group. Any Way You Want It, Walk Like a Lady, I'm Crying. Oh man. Yeah, this will be fun. I haven't listened to this album in a long time. All right. Then probably the first Journey album I ever bought back in the day. I just don't have it anymore, and this is Escape. Uh, Don't Stop Believin', one of the most popular songs probably of all time. This is the mistaken. This is a reissue. It's got 4 bonus tracks on here, a couple live songs. There are 3 live songs, and then La Raza del Sol, which sounds like it probably an instrumental or something. Who knows? Don't know though. I hadn't heard it. All right, then we have Don't Have Frontiers, but had Raised on Radio in there as well. Um, just awesome, awesome stuff. Loved this album too. It's not much I don't like from the Steve Perry era. And then this is the last one they did with Steve Perry. It's Trial by Fire. I mean, the picture I think on the back says enough. Steve's off to the right. He looks really, I don't know, he looks pissed at the world. Um, and that's the inside. This was I actually enjoyed this album. I thought it was a really good album. Hated to see that as the last one. All right, the next half of this batch is all the newer stuff with Steve Aguilera and Arnell. First up, we have Arrival. This one came out, I want to say, pretty early, like 2001, maybe? Something like that. Somewhere around there. There they are. I won't know any of these stuff, any of the stuff. I've never really listened to anything past Steve Perry. It's not that I was a Steve Perry or nothing. I just moved on at that point. And here we have Red 13 from Journey. This is just a little EP. It's got 5 songs on there. Uh, Thought that was really cool. I don't think I've ever heard this one either, so that's all exciting for me. All right, then we have Generations. Uh, yeah, I don't know who was on this album. I can't. Is this a start of Arnell? I don't really know. I can't tell from the pictures. My eyesight sucks, so even with glasses. All right, then we have Revelation. This one's definitely with Arnell. This one is a like a deluxe edition. It comes with a CD or 2 CDs and then a DVD or vice versa. I think the DVD might be in the middle. Yeah, the DVD's in the middle. Um, so yeah, real excited. It looks like a live show, possibly. I'll have to check that out. And then the final two is Eclipse, which I think that's an awesome cover there. I do love their little bug covers, like space bugs or whatever. And then there's the insert on that, or the inner sleeve. Then their most recent studio album is Freedom. This is from 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And I know I haven't heard this one. Um, and there they are right there. Based on that picture, they're down to 3. And, all the drama they've had the last few years made me not really care too much. But hey, now I've got them. I'll give them a listen and see what they're like. And that's all of them. There was another CD that was in there that wasn't related to the collection that I bought, so I'm not going to show that now. I'm going to wait till the month end wrap up and talk about that one. So yeah, that's it. All 55 CDs. That was a whole bunch of stuff. Made the shipping price worth it. Thank goodness there were no big tariffs on it or anything. Yeah, so because that would have really sucked. So thank you again for watching. Click like, hit subscribe, leave a comment. We'll get back to you as soon as we can, and then we'll see you the next time on the collection.